Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, Bashim YAHAWASHI, Bashim Kakudash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to Lek out there doing this work of faith and labor of love, true sincerity. All right, as you can see on the screen here, I got this clip that I put up last night. I'm entitled Devices of Esau, number one, conservatism. So, Lord willing, with each one of these clips that I put up, so I'm going to put up the clip of edification first, then actually go into it with a little bit of history and, filter it through a few scriptures, to further edify the points and the ways how Esau rules, controls, so the whole 9 yards, the whole 9 yards, so to speak. So, I want to go into this with a little bit of edification. So, Lord willing, this segment is edifying. I didn't do too much because I didn't, have that much time. Because when you get into research, research can take quite a bit of time. As Esau himself, they accomplished a diligent search. So we got to put in our best effort. When it comes to information, to get the most out of it. But Lord willing, this should just be a short one, and I have further edification with the other videos that are down the line of this series. All right, so I'm gonna just play this and get into it.
And see, they don't understand that conservatism.
And for brothers that's not aware of who this guy is, his name is Dr. Claude Anderson, and he's a real powerful guy. He's been around for decades, at least about 40, 50 years. He had his hand in, like the civil rights movement, helping to trying to rewrite certain parts of the Constitution. But of course, down the line, they were overruled or overwritten and things like this. His information and structure about how to set up, a thriving community, so to speak, all of his works are on point because you got over 250 countries that use the so-called black man's books and his edification, to support their communities, man. So, he does some powerful work, but everything that he's trying to do is actually coming to naught because we know, what YAHAWASHI has ultimately set up for this place, but he brings out a lot of good information. Just for brothers, look him up, Dr. Claude Anderson.
Will override liberalism. And see, they don't understand that conservatism will override liberalism 1,000 times with nothing left over. They're never going to win anything because we live in a conservative nation. Conservatism means to hold on to what one got and make sure nobody else ever gets anything. Conservatism has no intent towards being open-minded and liberal. When you hear these whites proclaiming that they're conservatives on the radio and TV shows and the movies, what they are saying is that we have no interest in anything other than our interest, our self-interest. And we have no interest in transparency and fairness. Why would you let somebody talk about he's going to become a judge, a conservative judge on the Supreme Court based on fairness? His mind is already closed. Conservatism means your mind is closed.
All right, so you see everything he said from there, getting about into conservatism and how America is a conservative country. So I just want to get into just some basic wordplay, as we do here in Great Millstone. All right, the word conserve, right? Protect something, especially an environmentally or culturally important place or thing from harm or destruction, right? So it's to protect something from harm or destruction. Like how they say in different movies, we can't let this evil fall into the wrong hands. So in Esau's case, he's looking at it like, yo, hey, we got to hold on to what we got. We can't let it, our power structure fall into, the hands of these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? We can't let them get it back, under the power of YAHAWASHI. We got to do everything we can to conserve our power structure because, hey, they know we coming for it, man. They know we coming for, the crown, so to speak. They know we coming for their heads, man, through the spirit, right? Now, I put conservation. I'm going to put conservative. So you got the definition of conserve. So just look up conservative. This goes more into political thing, but right, conservative, holding to traditional attitudes and values and cautious about change or innovation, typically in relation to politics or religion. A person who is adverse to change and holds to traditional values or attitudes, typically in religion or politics. So, America and Esau being a conservative nation, what they're trying to hold on to what their property, protect their property, and their whole infrastructure of what they set up here in America. So that entails what slavery, but in a modern day form. They're trying to keep that conserved in the proper context. The whole working class. Everything that they can do within their power to keep us down and out and away from our power, YAHAWASHI. So that's everything that they hold uh, within their mind frame to keep this country rolling. This is part of their democracy, a part of their philosophy, part of their wine. It's all a part of that, man. Now, when you look at it, the Lord had us kind of as conservatives to a degree, because what we were supposed to be all about ourselves and to build ourselves up. But of course, through present time, us, going off sinning against the Most High and things like that, the Lord had to do things a bit differently, right? But I'm gonna get a quick scripture real quick. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, right? And I'm gonna start at verse 6. It says, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 8. It says, "Let us crown ourselves." Matter of fact, let me start at verse 1 to just give a little context. Wisdom of Solomon 2:1. For the ungodly said, we notice getting, referring mainly to Esau, the ungodly, also could be to our people as well. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. So this is the mindset, of the ungodly, right? So knowing all of that, and what they whole things about joy, about the now. And what is Esau all about? Esau is all about the now. They're not looking towards actually building up a decent infrastructure and things in the ways of the people, man. They're looking out for themselves. They're all about the now, now, now. They don't do anything to try to conserve or preserve the land. They're sucking up all of the natural resources all over the earth. They're the destroyers of the earth, man. So verse 8, it says, "Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered." Crowning yourself with something, hey, that's obviously a sign of rulership, right? They're in the rulership seat right now. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. They live in lavish. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Just as it goes into, right? And what is it? Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So this is all a part of them leaving their stamp or leaving their mark everywhere, man. Their different monuments, the name of their countries after themselves, so on and so forth. And the scriptures say remove like the old landmark, but what has Esau done? He's done every bit of that, man. To try to preserve his seat in the minds of the people forever, man. What was I at? Yeah, I'll read verse 9 again. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion. Our lot is this. And they right. Technically right now is their lot, but their lot is about to be fulfilled. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous. And this is exactly what they do, and it's all a part of their conservatism, right? To keep themselves in power, because he is not for our turn. So what? If you're a conservative, you want to hold fast to those traditional ways. So they know that we're not for their turn, and they're not for our turn. So hey, it behooves them to continue to try to do what they do unto us, even though they're going to have to pay daily for it, because they know what time it is. And he is clean contrary to our doings, right? Because all of their doings is wicked. He upbraideth us without offending of the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. Uh, you know, so they know all of these different things, man. So real quick, I want to go to yeah. Let me go to this article here. I just want to read a little bit on this. It's a big article, but I don't want to read too much into it. This is from the AmericanHeritage.com. All right. It says the giants of American conservatism, a thoughtful discussion of the men who contributed to contributed the most to what is now the dominant political pattern. So conservatism is all a part what of their political pattern, and through their politics, through their democracy and everything. This is how they keep themselves in rule. For the laws to be passed and different things like that. Is just passing things around. And why do you think that you'll never truly see our people up there, uh, passing laws or doing this or doing this? Of course, they give some of our people seats and stuff like that. Just as fill-ins. The ones that's going to pretty much be sellouts for the most part. But this place is not for us, man. They just do it just to sprinkle it in, and to make things look good, man. That's what Esau is good for, man. To try to deceive people by saying, "Oh yeah, you got some judges, yeah, you got some this, yeah, you got some that," but it really means nothing at the end of the day, So Salakia. Where did I want to start? Yeah, I'm gonna start here. In this article here, this paragraph right here says, the search for the giants of American conservatism begins at the Constitutional Convention of 1787. There were, to be sure, outstanding men of conservative principle in the colonial period. John Winthrop, Increase Mather, Jonathan Edwards, and Richard Bland, to name a few, whose lives and works have much to teach, but their purposes and arguments are too unfamiliar to modern Americans to attract the attention of any large number of conservatives. The American Revolution is now being interpreted as an essentially conservative event. So this was all about a way. So the American Revolution was a way for them to conserve their traditional rights, right? To what as it go back to it, to conserve, to protect, and especially an environment or culturally important place or thing from harm or destruction. So this is what the American Revolution was all about, according to this, right? The history of the American conservatism of Slovakia. The American Revolution is now being interpreted as an essentially conservative event, as a large-scale rebellion to preserve rather than gain liberty. So that's what this was all about. But it was an event that appeals as much to progressives and radicals as to conservatives. The history of American conservatism may be said to date from the decision of a group of revolutionary leaders, conservatives all, to end the uncertainties of the post-revolutionary years by establishing a national government that would secure peace and order, protect the legitimate rights of property, right? The word conserve, to protect property or a thing, right? And place political power in the hands of large-minded gentlemen like themselves, having filled with distinction the incongruous roles of rebels against royal and ancient authority. These able conservatives now undertook to play the hardly less incongruous roles of farmers of a new charter of government. So they were to basically, establish a new way that would keep them in power. Okay, the monument to their success, is the American Constitution. So, hey, if if the American Constitution is a form of conservatism, then that obviously means that off rip, without even getting into the definitive articles and reading the documents and stuff like that, this should already tell you from the get-go that this is not for us, that this is all about them maintaining their power, their control, slavery just in the modern form, so on and so forth, right? Because it said this is the monument to their success is the American Constitution. So this is what America stands on, that keeps them in power with their ambiguous language all within that Constitution. And Lord willing, in the second segment, I get more into that Constitution because what Dr. Claude Anderson had to say is very powerful concerning the American Constitution. All right. So it says, a triumph of conservative statesmanship. The framers of this Constitution, who distrusted democracy, deserve much credit for the success of our democracy. Lacking faith in the people, they nonetheless rested their new Constitution on the broad base of popular sovereignty. So what they didn't want to leave things to the hand of the people by chance, they wanted to put it in in the hands of sovereignty, meaning what, the rulers, heavy people with deep pockets that thought just like they did, right? Placing faith in government by the gentry, they nonetheless raised a structure that could be converted without bloodshed into government by the people. The framers insisted in 1787, and their document insists today, that law is the price of liberty. So what? The law, what the Constitution, is going to be the price of what? Your freedom. So what? Because you're going to have to live by these laws. Duty of happiness, meaning what? The duty and the roles that people are going to have to play is going to have to replace the role of traditional happiness. Communal order over individual development, meaning what? As a body, things have to be done all together instead of you just worried about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Deliberation of wise decision, constitutionalism of democracy. Their constitution, conceived in this tough-minded philosophy, has made it possible for a restless race to have its stability and its progress too. It has been perhaps, now just getting into that, what the tough-minded philosophy. So we know everything that Esau does, what he transgresses by one, is all part of their, their claim to fame, their rights to power, man. Their philosophies. Which scripture that I want to hit? Slock is against chapter 18. It is Revelations 18 and Revelation 18 and 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So even as America is in this conservative state, it holds the power over all other nations. The other nations, they have theirs too, but what America is mainly concerned about, their control. That's why they're trumping their power over all of the other nations, but not much for longer, because we know that these other nations, they're getting nuclear capability. They're doing away with the dollar. They're recognizing the weakness of America. But in general times, in older times, this wasn't the case. All nations was falling for everything that America gave them. So this is all a part of that wine, all a part of that philosophy, their conservatism. And they what we know, according to the scripture, what they frame as mischief by law, making other countries and stuff sign treaties, backing them down, bullying them, all these different things, man. That's all America ever does, right? So so going on a little bit more on this, it says it has been perhaps the most successful conservative device, right? See, and that's why I'm glad, just I read this article after I named the series, but naming the series what devices of Esau, because what that conservatism, what I'm saying, and through the American Constitution, this is the number one thing, that they actually used to control the masses of the people and to keep their power structure as they started when they first came over here, bringing us into slavery. All right. So it says it has been perhaps the most successful conservative device in the history of mankind. All right. And the Americans, a singularly conservative people, for all their restlessness, have adored it with good reason. It has been their king and church, their ark and covenant, their splendid sign of freedom and unity. It has been all these things because, first of all, it has been their tutor in ordered liberty. All right. American conservatives, for whom the Constitution has special meaning. So now think about this. For American conservatives, it said what? For American conservatives, for whom the Constitution has special meaning. Why would it have special meaning for them? Because only they truly know what the Constitution is for, or who the Constitution is for, and what it is truly all about. This is about so-called white supremacy, okay? It's about keeping themselves within power and doing everything to keep us down. But the average person doesn't even know that and doesn't even care to understand it. They think that the things in the American Constitution really fits all people when it doesn't. Because now you have the rewritten form of the Constitution, but the first Constitution that was actually written, they would use different terms to describe minorities, but they would never use the term black or things like that. They would, use very ambiguous language. They would say minority or this or that. You know what I'm saying? Or any persons of slavery, stuff like that. They would use very ambiguous terms to define our role within this nation. And how we fit in the American Constitution was actually below the Constitution because it's actually set up for them and their power structure. All right. So it says American conservatives for whom the Constitution has special meaning may also take their special pride in the men who framed it. And James Madison, James Wilson, Roger Sherman, John Dickinson, Governor Morris, the Pinckneys of South Carolina, and the rest. All right. So, they mention other guys. I'll read this little part right here. They may take even greater pride in four men, two of whom were at Philadelphia in 1787, two who were not, but might just as well have been, who loom above all other men of their age as models of conservative statesmanship and well springs of conservative thought. The first of these, as he is the first of Americans, is George Washington. All right, so they're all a part of it. Next, you what? Alexander Hamilton. Who else did they mention? John Adams. You know what I'm saying? John Marshall of Virginia. So these are to them great men that played some of the most dominant roles as far as this conservatism and as far as their rule and their power structure being set up the way it is. All right, and I want to get a little bit into matter of fact, before I do that, let me get to a couple scriptures real quick. All right, because and to show you, just through basic scriptures, because it's all about them to conserve their power, their money, their structure, everything, right? So this is Psalm 73:5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. So obviously, if you set up any type of structure or structural form, you want it to be so that you don't suffer from it. You setting it up for the good, that it can set you up in the long run. And that's what Esau has done. And they're doing with everything within their power to sustain their power. That's why we're seeing all this technology come about and we're pushing towards the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, man, every single day, right? Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Because what they frame a mission by law, they do everything under the sneak, and they know that they hold the money, the power, and respect of the nations, right? Their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than heart can wish. If you doing everything to conserve power, you creating GMO foods, taking all the natural resources from other countries, you best believe they stand out with fatness and they have more than heart could wish, right? They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. That's what the whole Constitution is about. When you get into the 13th, the 14th, or 15th Amendment, was to restructure things for us. You know what I'm saying? And to put us in the new form of slavery. That's why they speak wickedly concerning oppression, because they don't care. This is how they built this country, and it's how they want to keep it. That is the whole definition of conserving and being a conservative, man. I'm going to jump to verse 12 real quick. It says, "Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in this world; they increase in riches." So we can tell that that's a so-called white man, because it's nothing godly about him. Period. Right. So also, I'm going to go to the book of Deuteronomy and the curses real quick. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43, it says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low." We can see that in every way, shape, form, or fashion, how they're above us and how we're at the low end of the totem pole, right? He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt lend to him. Ain't that a part of their conservative strategy? A part of them keeping themselves within power? Using this whole credit to debt system. Allowing people to constantly consume themselves in debt, knowing that one day that a person is going to slip up, and that's when they could capitalize. And with those interest rate and them charging people interest every single day, when you get in charge 23.99%, for an item that you purchased, little do most people know, they timesing that by 5, and you get taxed on that on a daily. That's why it be like if you have to pay $130, you have to make $130 payment on a credit card. Guess what? Like 80 to 90%, depending on your interest rate, 80 to 90 of those dollars out of that $130 is actually going to go towards the interest, and the rest of the whether it be $40 or $50, that's going to your actual balance that you have on your credit card. This is the way how they keep their power intact, man. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail, man. So hey, if this ain't the definition of conserving and being a conservative, like, I truly don't know what is, man. All right, and I just also too, because I want to get into where's that I want to get into this real quick, because everything that they do, and this is the book which everybody know about, Who is Esau Edom. I just want to read an excerpt for this because everybody knows that they truly add no value to the society, and everything they do is off the backs of other people. That's another sign of true conservatism. You do as little as possible, but you milk the people for everything that they got to keep you in power, man. That's a definition of the wicked. That's a definition of conservatism, man. All in a nutshell, man. It's a way that you can actually be a conservative in the right way, but Esau, he does everything in the wrong manner, right? So from Who is Esau Edom, page 27, it says, to quote the Jew Samuel Roth, our major vice of old as of today is parasitism. We are a people of vultures living on the labor and the good nature of the rest of the world. This is what they do. What a sorry spectacle the Jew makes on this continent, which he pretends to have enriched, because at the end of the day, we know who runs the society. We know who runs this wicked world that we currently live in, the so-called Jews, right? Not only does he fail to contribute any glamour, culture, and art to the scene, he does not even contribute manpower. Because who's the manpower? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the manpower. You're the slaves. You do all the working. You constantly see Issachar doing what every job under the sun. You'll see a Issacharite doing it, man. I've seen Issacharites. Their main thing is construction, but I've seen them in every cook shop, whether it be Italian, whether it be Chinese food, whether it be in the East Indian store. I've seen them cooking every type of witch food in every restaurant there is. They clear out all the jobs. They're the main manpower now. They're taking over for the average Jakes out there, man. You know what I'm saying? And when I say Jakes, I just mean from the tribe of Judah, okay? He does not even contribute manpower. He does not dig wells, plow fields, forge skyscrapers, lay bricks, cut out trenches, spin wheels, bake dough, fell trees, pack tin cans, sweep streets, heave coal, fire furnaces, weave cloth, dig subways, raise ramparts, wall floods, rivet bridges, hinge gates, or fight fires. Towards the manpower of America, Jewry contributes only that which it catches in its own sweatshops, as it so many rat traps sets by itself. It seems to be part of the Jew's unwritten code that he should never work. So what? Why do you got everybody out here working hard? They tell you to work hard. They ain't working at all. They're working off of their intellectual property to enslave the masses of the people, man. And when you look at it, hey, that's where it's at. Not to use other people, but I mean what? Intellectual property. Using your own mind to create something for yourself, but in the righteous manner. You know what I'm saying? Unless something happens to change his vision, I venture to add that he never will either. I cannot find anything of value that Jews have created in their 250-year residence on the American continent, man. So they have never contributed truly to this society. We have been the workforce, the horse of the brunt, whatever you want to call it, to everything. We built this place. This is how we built old Egypt. Everything stands on our shoulders. You know what I'm saying? They say that so-called black people have $1 trillion spending power, man. But what do we use it for? A bunch of stupid stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we all are a part of it, you know, to a degree, you know. But hey, we know that this world is not for us. So hey, render unto Caesar what's his. Hey, he can have this world, man, because the world to come that we're gonna have is far more brighter than this ever could be, you know. But I wanted to finish off with a couple more scriptures, right? Just to furthermore show the point. Yeah, I think I wanted to get Job, if I'm not mistaken. Job 21:7. It says, "Wherefore doth do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power?" And we showed through that who was Esau, Edom, how they set up their power structure, and this is how they live. They become old and they stay mighty in power. You know what I'm saying? By not actually contributing to anything, by using their wicked intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? To establish their fortune, to keep their fortunes going, to keep them rolling, man. You know, we know about Wall Street, the stock market, and they set up all of that stuff, man, but for their benefit, man. You know, while when 9/11 happened, you know what I'm saying, you got them trading stocks and people becoming billionaires off of the destruction of America, man. You know what I'm saying? Off of the destruction of killing lives, man. This is what they do. Verse 8, their seed is established in their sight with them and their offspring before their eyes. But with Jake, this isn't the case. You know what I'm saying? You got people losing their children for various reasons, homes not being safe, so on and so forth. But with their children, they always get to raise them and see them grow up and so on and so forth, man. The houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. You know, they walk in their neighborhoods, doors unlocked, stuff like that. Their bull gendereth and felleth not. Their cow calfeth and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth and in a moment go down to the grave. So all of their days, man, you know what I'm saying? All of their days, because the society was built for them. And this is why, you know, the scriptures say this, right? Just made me think of it. So it was 14:21. Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Because all of the people, you know, all the so-called white people that's eating off of today, you know, hey, you got to pay, you know, for what your ancestors did. And little do you know that you are your forefathers, you know what I'm saying, in the third or fourth generation back, man. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be held accountable for all of your actions of today. And just putting it in the modern day terms, because people would say, you know, well, why I got to pay for this? I wasn't back here back then. Well, you're still benefiting, you know what I'm saying, from everything that was done off the sweat of our backs. You know what I'm saying? Everything that was done by the rape, robbery, and murder of our people. So it's only right. It's only just. How they say, what karma, what goes around comes around. The Lord gonna bring it right back around. You know. So with that, you know, like I said, I just Lord willing. I know this was kind of long, stretched out. Lord willing, next time I try to make it a little more shorter. But I definitely want to get into more information concerning these topics. And, you know, I got another one coming up on part 2. So Lord willing, that will be a little bit more informative if I can dig up enough info in enough time. But I hope this segment was edifying, you know, to show brothers that conservatism is a major device of Esau, his control, his power structure, and how he set things up, you know, to keep us down, you know. So with that, you know, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, double honest to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, and SHALAWAM to Lek Abdir, doing his work of faith and live with love and true sincerity. SHALAWAM.